Harrison, take the wheel.
So yeah, we're talking about Dalen Terry on today's show for this prospect today. Dalen Terry, interesting player. Here's kind of the nuts and bolts on him. 19 years old, guard, wing, forward. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife type guy. Sophomore out of Arizona, currently projected as a second rounder. Has a terrible nickname though. His nickname is Mr. Do Everything. Gonna have to workshop that for sure.
I don't get it. You like Mr. Reliable. I muted you, Eric. There you go. You like Mr. Reliable or Dependable, but you don't like Mr.
Dependable. Mr. Do Everything? It's just too many words. It's like you have to hyphenate it. Yeah. It's just 3 words. It doesn't roll off the tongue the same way as Mr. Dependable.
We should just call him Do It All. And we just make it one word. Do it all.
All right. Well, yeah. We'll workshop it.
I don't know. I kind of like Mr. Do Everything. I don't know. There's something about it. It's very 80s sounding. Sounds like an 80s wrestler.
It kind of is.
I do kind of like putting Mr. in front of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of our thing. Mr. Do Everything. He's a projected second rounder. So, the 2 guys we've talked about this week, Jalen Williams and Tari Eason, definite first rounders. Dalen Terry's a second rounder. He could still go back to school if he doesn't have the interest he wants in the draft. But here are his measurables. 6'7" in shoes with a 7'1" wingspan, 195 pounds. He pretty much has the same kind of measurables as Andrew Wiggins. That's his physical comp. 8'10" standing reach. It's a pretty high standing reach for a guy 6'7". He reached higher than Zeke Naji did at the combine 2 years ago. So that kind of shows you, even though he's 6'7", he can still reach super, super high with that 7'1" wingspan. Seems like a really good athlete, although he did not do the vertical test at the combine. So that kind of raises some eyebrows. But he's an interesting player, high-level athlete, really good defender. My kind of takeaways from watching his highlights in his film, kind of a weird runner. I don't know if you guys saw this as well.
I love this insight.
Kind of quirky. Sometimes it seems like he's going to fall over. Like real herky-jerky style of play and just kind of running. Also very high hips, long legs. That's an important note.
Yeah.
I love these details. I appreciate them.
Are we at a place where I can chime in or no?
Yes, go ahead.
I scouted this gentleman. I watched film. I saw upwards of 2 highlight packages on him, and what I was left with is that he has terrible body control. Like what you're kind of saying, he lumbers. Like his feet seem really heavy to him. Like he was doing some things that I thought were impressive. Like he's got length. At times, he looked to me a little bit like Will Barton, but maybe less explosive, just sort of like in his mannerisms and the way that he would react after passing the ball and shooting it. I'm not that excited about this guy, if I'm being honest. I talked to Michael from PHNX Wildcats, Mike Luke, who does all of the coverage for the Arizona Wildcats there, and does a great job. And he likes him quite a bit. He thinks that he is about 2 or 3 years away from actually being ready. He thinks that he has an NBA body currently, but the things that we were kind of talking, or you've been talking about, like his shot is pretty unpredictable, and he is like kind of out of control. But he stands by absolutely. I don't know if this is just, we can count on any person that covers a person we're going to talk about what a great guy they are and how they're a team player and a winner. But he stands behind the idea that this kid's a winner and he's absolutely somebody you can win with. But I will say, watching him, I was like, I don't know. This doesn't feel like the right kind of dude for us. Like just that, it's that body control for
me. All right, Harrison.
A couple other notes on his appearance, since we're in mail form corner. Very short shorts. That's an important note here.
I'm back in. Let's get it. First round.
Did you notice that on the tape as well, D-line? Short shorts?
To be honest, I didn't notice anything on the tape but that. Everything else I just said I made up. I didn't see any. I was just checking out those short shorts.
Okay. All right. Here's some more stuff on Dalen Terry. His stats last season, they don't really jump off the page because he was a role player on a really good Arizona team. He spent 2 years at Arizona. It was his sophomore season last year. Only averaged 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists per game, 1.2 steals as well. Played 27.8 minutes. So he played a bunch, but he's really like he was a quintessential role player in college. And I actually think that's one of his strengths. Like he has high role player potential, doesn't project as a star, wasn't in college. I don't think he'll be in the NBA, but he played as a role player in college, really embraced his role, played a bunch of different positions, played some point guard. Like I said, he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. Only attempted 6 shots per game last year in Arizona. He was the 5th leading scorer on his team. So I just think he's got some high role player potential. His other strengths, really versatile defender. Like D-Line was saying, he's got to get stronger. He's super skinny right now, only weighs 195 pounds. He's got to get stronger, but great size, great length, really good athleticism. He fits today's game just from a switchable defensive standpoint. He should be able to guard, at least 3-4 positions probably. He also has a really high motor, plays hard all the time, should be good in transition as well. And then my other strength about him, pretty good passer. He loves to throw these backdoor passes. It seems like he has pretty good vision. He was second on his team in assists this season at Arizona. Like he had some really big assist games. He had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists against Washington earlier this year. 7 assists versus UCLA. He had 7 assists 3 more times as well. Also a pretty aggressive rebounder, but he's a role player who definitely seems like he's going to be a jack of all trades and kind of like a Swiss Army knife where you can play all over the floor.
So let me ask this one, because I only watched a little bit of tape on him before the show. He kind of reminded me of PJ Dozier, both physically and also some of the stuff he does. Like I almost see him more of that. The thing about PJ Dozier is he's really long, but he's skinny but not scrawny. Like PJ Dozier kind of had a more like muscle in his lower body, skinny waist, and then like long arms. So his weight wasn't super high, but he wasn't like he was a skinny guy.
Yeah, no, I could see some PJ Dozier as well. And PJ Dozier also played a bunch of different positions. PJ Dozier came up as a point guard, but in the NBA has been more of a 2-3. I think Dalen Terry is going to be a similar type of guy that you can play at a couple different positions. He could bring the ball up. He can defend point guards. He could defend wings ideally. So I think he's definitely a complimentary guy that can play a bunch of different roles.
Yeah, and here we have some graphics on him. So you want to go over some strengths and weaknesses here?
Yeah, well, I think something really unique about him, you could probably leave that up. High role player potential. Like he's not going to try to be a star. That could be something that's really good for the Nuggets and something that attracts them to Dalen Terry. He's not going to try to be a number 1, number 2, probably even number 3 type guy. But the defense is what gets you really excited for sure. Super long arms, like I was saying. He's got a 7'1" wingspan, 8'10" standing reach. He should be good on ball as a defender. He should be good off ball as well. And then he's got a high motor too. Like he just plays really hard and just kind of, you get the feeling that he's just a grinder and really likes the game, willing to do whatever Arizona needed him to do to win last season. And I think if you're an NBA team and you're looking for, a role player that's a defender, I think you would really like hearing that.
I also kind of like the idea of a player who hasn't become who they are just quite yet, has the talent to kind of break a lot of different directions, because you can mold them perhaps a little bit more into the player you want. So interesting.
Yeah. And then the weaknesses, D-Line, this is right up your alley. Not a proven shooter at all. We don't really know if he can shoot. He shot 36.5% from 3 last year. He's been, in the 60s and 70s as a free throw shooter in his 2 years in college. That doesn't really get you too hopeful about his shot. And just watching him shoot, I definitely don't trust his shot. He only attempted, I've got it here, 120 total threes in college across 2 years, playing a ton. So he didn't really look to shoot threes. Didn't really seem like he was too confident in that. So the shooting's a big question mark as well. And like we were talking about earlier, another weakness I have for him is he kind of plays out of control a little bit. It honestly does seem like he's going to fall over a lot when he's running full speed. It's a weird observation, I'm telling you, but it just kind of was something I noticed watching his film. He also needs to get stronger. He's got a really wiry frame right now, and just needs a little more polish to his game. But if you're looking for a role player who can definitely help you in an area where you're really weak right now, Dalen Terry could be your guy.
He can't run. He can't shoot. I like it.
I'm serious. Go watch Dalen Terry and tell me if you're seeing the same thing. Like he's a weird runner. He's a very weird runner.
The man has heavy feet. They're the heaviest feet I've seen in some time outside of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, it's funny. I see a comment. IRL, I think it's IRL, very upset with us talking about the draft. I mean, guys, the draft is coming up, and here's the thing: there's 17 spots on the Nuggets roster. I suspect that the more impact pieces are going to come from trades and free agency, but they are also very likely going to draft someone this year. I mean, they might not. They might end up trading the pick. But the thing about Denver is second rounders, late first, they're very cheap. And Denver has to fill out the end of their roster with prospects that can be ready in years to come. So there's no I agree with you in spirit. The Nuggets are probably going to find the impact players outside of the draft. But they're also an organization has to accomplish several goals at once, and this is part of it. So,
and the other thing they have to accomplish this year is figuring out who they are now.
What do you mean?
There's a new general manager. I mean, we don't know who the Nuggets are now.
I've thought about this every time we've been doing these. I've been like, is that a Conley pick? And now you're like, is that a Calvin Booth pick? We don't know. We have no idea.
We don't know. We have no clue.
I think we know. Bones Highland. I mean, that was the Tim Conley pick.
Yeah, we got to figure out. You guys got to talk to Calvin Booth to figure out if he would have drafted Bones Highland.
For the record, talk to Calvin and ignore a lot. It's funny, man, because I still get the comments about like now you have no one to talk to in the organization. Only people do. Talk to everyone. Talk a lot to these guys. So. That's not a question you usually ask because usually you're not wondering, like, is Tim Conley on his way out the door? Like, hey, are you? It would be a weird question to ask 3 weeks ago. That would have been a really strange question. But, now certainly you start to get a little bit, a sense of what a guy wants to do. So, all right, give me a superlative for him, Harrison.
I think he could definitely be, like, one of the best defenders in the draft for sure. Definitely. I mean, if you're looking for wing defenders, he's one of the guys that's probably going to be at the top of your list or near the top of your list. Just from a defensive standpoint, I feel like he projects with his frame, with how hard he plays, as one of the draft's best defenders.
I think I haven't done a very thorough scout on him, but he does sound to me just from where he's going to be drafted, likely late first or second round, but also the skill sets you're talking about. He seems to have real bust potential. Like he might be a guy that just doesn't have enough basketball skills for the upside to matter. Does that seem fair, Harrison?
Yeah, for sure. He could definitely have bust potential. Absolutely. And I mean, I think that's a reason he's being projected as a second rounder. Like he is way below Tari Eason, obviously. And Tari Eason there are some aspects of Tari Eason that are similar to Dalen Terry and some that aren't at all. Like Dalen Terry, much more versatile just as an offensive player, I think, than Tari Eason is. But him and Jalen Williams, Tari Eason and Jalen Williams, they are way above the type of prospect that this guy is.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Anything else? I mean, any other of these topics we should hit before we get out?
I just think he's an intriguing name to watch with Denver, particularly when you're talking about like his potential fit with Nikola Jokic and this roster, because he is going to be a role player in the NBA. You look at a lot of these guys, even Eason or Jalen Williams, and you're like, yeah, maybe these guys see themselves as a number one, a number two, a number three guy. I don't think Dalen Terry is going to see himself like that at all. I think he's going to come into the league trying to be a role player. And, if you're Denver, that could be pretty appealing to you, I think.
Interesting. That's interesting. D-Line, any final thoughts on Dalen Terry?
I mean, just like I said, this is a guy I would not be interested in. Like I think that I can see
off your board completely. Off your board.
I mean, like you're bored. You're bored at the end of the day. Is one guy, two guys tops like this? If we ended up with this guy, as one of
I love D-Line's draft.
Me too, man. D-Line is the best drafter ever. Two players.
Like, yeah, well, you end up with like two players that come out of the draft process. Like if one of them was Dalen Terry, I'd be like, all right, well, I don't know what we're gonna do with this, but that's fine, whatever. So let's look at some more prospects, shall we, fellas? Into the
Dalen
future.
Terry, I definitely don't think he's the guy you're taking at 21. Definitely do not think so. He is a trade back guy for sure. Probably top of the second round.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that does it. That wraps it up then for Dalen. I keep wanting to call him Dalen Horton Tucker.
It's funny because we were talking about before we started the show yesterday how every basketball player in 10 years is just going to be named Jalen. Everybody in the NBA is going to be named Jalen.
Oh my God, you're right.
And this is just Dalen.
This is the African American version of Aiden, Jaden, Spaden, Bladen, Braden.
And then there's Dalen Horton Tucker.
Dalen, Kalen. Let's go. Yeah. I love it.
That does it for today, guys. The press conference with Tim Conley got pushed back to tomorrow, so we will be tomorrow.
Josh Kroenke.
Or Josh Kroenke. What did I say? Stan? Yeah, definitely not Stan.
Josh. Should I share my story from how I was going to attend the Josh Kroenke press conference?
Go ahead. Fill it as we get out of here.
Okay. So this is not my normal background, obviously. I'm in California right now. My wedding is this weekend, as listeners of the show probably know. I was going to fly back for this Josh Kroenke press conference. This is how committed I am to this company and covering the Nuggets. Committed. I was going to fly back and pay my own way even to be in Denver for 24 hours for this Josh Kroenke press conference. That was scheduled for today, but got moved to Thursday. I was sitting at the gate probably 5 minutes from boarding my plane when I saw the email that it was getting pushed back a day to Thursday.
We're off to
I was
a great
5 minutes from getting on that plane and going to Denver for no reason. But I didn't. And I'm still in California, and I will not be attending the Josh Kroenke presser on Thursday because I've got people coming into town. And I can't swing it. I could have swung it today. I could not swing it.
I thought you were committed. I'm disgusted.
I'm so disgusted as well. Should be interesting. Obviously, we'll form tomorrow's show. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. So we'll be back with that. Hit that like button on the way out. See you tomorrow, guys.